There was a period in my life when I actually experienced really bad racism. Somebody said he was actually training to be a police officer. He didn't know his First Nations. He said, I can't wait to become an officer so I can shoot some effing Indians. And I didn't say anything. I actually felt ashamed. I just felt scared and ashamed that I was who I was. I remember telling my older sister Jessica this story. Gabrielle, what if that person that gentleman wanted to shoot was Ethan? I said, oh, like, you're right. I'll never forget that. Like, something I could have done and said could change his life. I'm from the Hatchet Lake First Nation in northern Saskatchewan, and I'm a proud First Nations woman. I have a really small family. My dad's a single parent, and I have 2 older sisters, so I'm the youngest of 3 siblings. My sister Glenda, she's 2 years older than me. She has 2 amazing, amazing children, Ethan and Sydney. My oldest sister is named Jessica. She's about 10 years older than me. We had moved to Duck Lake when I was 3 years old. When I think about my father, the word that always comes up with me is respect. Respect for yourself, respect for your family, respect for your community, respect for your elders, respect for the land, and understanding that there's humility in knowing that you're only one of 7 billion people on this earth. So the world doesn't revolve around you, but you have your place to try and make a difference. I would say right around the time when I was about 12 years old, my dad's business was booming, and he was in a relationship at the time where he was unfortunately spending a little bit more time with her than he was with my sister and he was focused on the business. My sister, Glenda, dealt with it in a different way than I did. When she was 15 years old, I was 13, she ran away, and I was essentially left alone. It was kind of like a sink or swim moment, and it wasn't easy. It was not easy. We've moved past it as a family, but at the time, you know, that's just the way it was. I had a teacher named Mrs. Urton. One of her friends basically traveled the world and he talked to the youth classes in all parts of the world. He just told us about his travels and speaking with children and all these stories, and I was just totally fascinated and really drawn to this gentleman. And so after all the class kind of left the room, I don't know what possessed me, but I just felt like I feel the need that I need to talk to this man. And I started talking to him about, you know, my family and sort of how I was feeling, and waterworks were just pouring out of my eyes, but telling him like my dreams, like I really want to travel to Australia. He told me something, and this was the first time in my life I'd ever heard it. I was 15 years old. He said, Gabrielle, I've traveled the world, and I want you to know that you're one of the most amazing young women I've ever met. And I just thought, it floored me. I thought, how is that possible? Like you met so many people. I'm just one person in this small town. Like I don't understand that. And it made me feel special. It made me feel empowered. It made me feel confident. He really made me feel like it was going to be okay in a time when I really needed to hear that. I was ready to move. I was like 18, finished high school, diploma in hand, and moving to the city. Like I really wanted to start a new chapter. I caught wind of, in my first year of university, this program called Junior Teen Canada. They take young professionals and young leaders, and they take them on these trade missions abroad. You get to be on the ground with business owners and learn what they're doing in the marketplaces, work with the Canadian Development Agency and different development projects. But at the time, I thought, what? You get to travel for free? Right? That's what was going on in my mind. If you would have told 18-year-old Gabrielle, in 4 years, you'll have lived, traveled, worked, studied in 18 countries on 5 continents, met some of the most amazing people, met your head of state like 3 times, I'd say you're nuts. I'll never forget the moment I bought and was on the plane ride to Toronto. This was the first time in my life that I had purchased a one-way ticket, and I had no idea when or if I would be back. Landing in Pearson, Terminal 1 kind of going around, and I can still, if I close my eyes, I can still see it today because I was so scared. Yeah, on paper it looks good, like I have a good job, a good opportunity. I had just bought myself a condo. Like on paper, I should just be beaming with joy. And I just felt so scared. I felt alone. I felt uncertain if this was the right decision. I felt really scared if I was going to lose my sense of community. I was going to be disconnected from my family. I didn't know. What do? You start looking and you start reaching around and you start trying to find people to connect yourself with. And to my surprise, there was no organization, network, association focused on Aboriginal professionals or Aboriginal leadership. I really wanted to develop myself and find more about my proud Indigenous culture here in Toronto. The Aboriginal Professional Association of Canada was founded with the vision that more could be done to support First Nations, Métis and Inuit professionals, not only in the GTA, but actually across Canada. With Ethan, all I want, Ethan and Sydney, and there's actually another little one on the way, so it's like there's 3 people, you know, 3 little ones now, is to create a world for them that's better for them than the one I was in and grew up in. Can Ethan and Sydney, and this little one on the way, or Ethan when he's finishing university in 20 years, feel absolutely supported and empowered as a young professional, as a young Dene, and feel like he can do absolutely anything he wants to do. That to me is what success looks like.